All right, guys, so you were just watching live as we heard from Mayor Smiley, Governor McKee, and Colonel Perez, which is the chief of police there in Providence, Rhode Island, as they had some updates, and it seemed like many questions are still left unanswered, Harold.
Yeah, first of all, good to be with everybody. Unfortunate day. Prayers across the world, Australia, California, Brown University, obviously Syria, and the families, our fallen soldiers, their families. The press conference here, I think we were remarking around the table, probably could have been a little more organized in how they delivered some of the information. I give them a lot of grace and a lot of. Remember, when we had the shooting just not far from here in New York, the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO. It took several days to find Luigi Mangione. We had a bunch of leads and a bunch of things were coming in. Even our own Charlie Kirk, they arrested or detained somebody, at least one person, before finding the person. But this press conference here, I wish they had led with. Jesse and I were talking. That video, they released a new video. That was just 2 hours before the alleged shooting took place by whomever. And they believe it may be this guy. They still haven't gotten to any motives. I was curious if they couldn't. There was no speculation, and I think Greg said it well during break. They just don't know, and it's probably best they don't say if they don't know. But it is curious here, 36 hours afterwards, we don't really have any motives. I'm sure the residents of Rhode Island were reassured to hear the police chief and the other deputy police chief say that there are increased patrols across the city, and they're trying their hardest to restore whatever level of comfort and safety a community can have when there's a killer or maybe killers on the loose. You educated me, Emily, during a 9mm, I think all of us, about the size of a 9mm, so we at least know what the weapon is. But I was curious if there was no reporter that asked the question, are there more videos? Because they clearly may have had this, and there's probably strategic why they didn't release it yesterday, but if there are more videos, I hope that they're using them. I hope that the press will continue to ask them, because if you're a resident of Rhode Island, or you're a student at Brown, or you're a parent of a student at Brown, you want to know as much as you possibly can about whom this person is, and if indeed this person is the killer, and more importantly, what are they doing and what steps are they taking and what more resources they need to find him. So I give them some grace, but I think that this press conference could have been a little clearer, cleaner, and more precise.
Can I jump in on that, on the press conference? Harold's being very kind.
Well, they got a job to do.
It was a hot mess of a press conference. First of all, you could barely hear them. It is disorganized. The shot looked terrible. None of that to me said we've got confidence here. And I know that it's not easy. I understand that investigations are underway. I know that it's hard. They spent about 15 minutes of that press conference with the wrong information out there, saying that that video was from the day before. Then it's like, oh, wait, it was a reporter's question. Like, wait, actually, let me correct that. I would say the next time they come out, provide information to the public and say, here are the things we know, here's what we don't know. They spent a lot of time at the beginning congratulating themselves for protecting the community today and putting counselors in the schools today, but not being able to say what they had done on the Saturday. The president of the university on Saturday night still didn't even know anything 6 hours later. I feel like the people of Rhode Island and certainly the victims' families deserve better here.
Jesse.
That was a disaster. I mean, they got the guy's height, they got his weight, and they go, well, you want to update the country on what this guy's ID looks like? And they go, we'll put it on the website. Right. You have millions of people watching the press conference live, and you don't want to tell anybody? You say, oh, I'll put it out on a website? Come on. Is the guy 220? Is he Caucasian? What? They didn't even do it. And then they get the timeline wrong, like Dana said. I couldn't hear a word he said. Everyone's trying to back off. No one knows what's going on. It's 3 days later, after a gunman walked into an Ivy League university building and murdered the vice president of the College Republicans, killed 2 people, injured 11, and walks away. We don't know where he is. We don't know what he is, and doesn't seem to be that concerning to the people that were delivering that press conference. This was a premeditated target attack. The guy was casing the facility beforehand. They have 800 cameras at this university. They didn't have a camera at the entrance to the building so you can see who goes in and out of the building. This is stupid. I feel bad for the people of Providence. I feel terrible for the people of Brown University. And they have to get this together. It was 20 minutes after the shooting took place that they even sent out an alert to the student body. They never even had any sirens going off on campus. They didn't even do it. They blew it. And then they got the wrong guy and said, oops, okay, well, never mind. And then they say, trust us, the place is safe. Well, I'm sorry, no one trusts you guys. It's a mess up there. And I really hope they get this guy soon, because every day that goes by, you know what I mean.
Greg, I know you had some thoughts on the Bondi shooting. Do you want to talk about that?
Well,
or do you want to talk about that?
I mean, since we're talking about this press conference,
okay.
It's kind of tedious, and I don't. And I'm with Harold. Like, you don't want to hammer people that are going through something, but why is it that all these mayors seem like such dweebs? This guy, like, he doesn't offer any confidence at all in what he's doing. I look him up. He's like for climate resiliency. These are people that think that progress can be gamed if you just do a long conversation. Yeah. So they just do these long meetings. They talk about the backstory, the community, they use all these catchphrases and then they convince themselves that they're actually doing something, but they're just talking. And then you have the signage guy who is like, I'm sorry, but we have closed captioning now. You know, it's like, I don't need to be distracted by that, especially something that long. But the mayor sucks. I'm just going to put that out there. And I don't really have anything else, except it's always weird when they say we will not stop until we get this person. Well, you wouldn't keep going if you did. So I don't know if that's necessary. And this is basically what the guy looks like. Yep. So thank you for 40 minutes of us having to work it through.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.